Hello and welcome back to the Boro Women podcast, a podcast that delves into the Middlesbrough Women dressing room and chats to those playing, working or coaching within the club. And episode 3 is with Little Miss Popular, the fan favourite, Jasmine McQuade. So first and foremost, Jazz, how are you doing? Are you all right?
I'm all right, thanks.
Did I get the description correct, do you think? Fan favourite?
Nah.
First things first, I've got to apologise to everyone. I've just moved into a new house and it's the most echoey sitting room that I think I've ever been in. So if I sound like I'm in some sort of huge room, it's not a mansion, it's just a very echoey flat. But yes, Sunday's game, first things first. We lost our first game of pre-season at the weekend, but what did you make of the game?
Obviously, it's disappointing to lose, especially after winning, 4 or 5 games in a row. But yeah. That's what pre-season's for. You've got to lose games to learn from your mistakes and to almost work from it as a team. Like, if you win all your games before the season starts, you're going to expect to win when you start. So you need to lose games so you've got something to work on and focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bassi said the same thing straight in the aftermath. I think nobody likes losing at any point, at any level in any game. But like Bassi said, it's if you win all your preseason games and lose your first game against Hull, for example, it's wasted. And what you're in preseason for, it feels very much like that when you lose in preseason, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I suppose we'll kind of touch this anyway, but it's almost a good thing to get any bad performances out in preseason because it basically allows you to concentrate on what you need to work on for the league games. Like you personally, say if you've had a bad game, would you prefer that to be in pre-season than in like the league game? Because effectively pre-season's about fitness, so it lets you look back and work on exactly what you want to do moving forward. And you're very much at a stage at the moment where you're still learning as well. So I imagine pre-season's quite big for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think, especially from my point of view, I didn't have the best game on Sunday, but it's better to have it in pre-season than when the league starts because now I've got 2 weeks to focus on my individual improvement before the season starts. And then obviously as a team, the performance wasn't good enough as the weeks before. So as a team, we can then go to train and work on what we haven't done well together.
What's been great as well, though, I think Leonie touched on this in the programme. She said about how at this point it's all about the performance, not necessarily the result. And I think like what Bassi said was the thing that frustrated her most probably on Sunday was the performance. She doesn't mind losing 1-0 in pre-season if you feel the performance is good. But I think over the whole of pre-season, there's been a new way of playing and we really feel like we have implemented it. Having the game that's probably going to help us get back into our groove hopefully for the next few games, isn't it?
Yeah, we've definitely worked on a new style of play and it has been working. And yeah, on Sunday, if we'd stuck with that style of play and we did lose, we would have been not happy, but it's what we wanted to get out of the game. Like we would prefer that than a win, but we just need to focus on that for tomorrow's game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping this goes out beforehand. I'm thinking it will do. Depends how good my editing skills are, but there you go. We've been back ourselves for what feels like ages. I mean, I feel like I've been doing media back for a while. We've been back training for sort of ages. But Sunday was the first time we had fans back in, and it did have such a different feel because of that. But as a player, how was it playing in front of a crowd for the first time in 6 months?
It was good, obviously. It's been so long, you just forget. There was quite a few that turned up as well, more than what I expected. But yeah, it's much better playing in front of fans because you just know that they've got your back. And it's I don't know, I just don't like playing when it's quiet. It's just dead silent. I don't like that, mate.
It's just weird, isn't it? I mean, I was thinking when I was just editing the highlights on Sunday night coming back on the train, like when we score, you hear everyone cheer. It's the first time I've heard that in months, because all the highlights I've done have been the occasional me shouting, get in. Apologies to anyone who's been listening to me over the highlights. There's been a few times when I've accidentally said something, isn't there? Unfortunately. Accidentally celebrated a goal, but that's what it is. With the game on Sunday, did I spot your mum? Did your mum come?
Oh yeah, and do you know what? She's nicked one of me Boro jackets. So
I've seen that. I've seen her wearing
yeah.
one of the jackets. But to be fair, she did bring you into this world. I think it's only fair you give her a jacket back.
Yeah.
um, so in terms of like a personal level, I think we touched on your performance on Sunday, but obviously I've been at all the preseason games. I've been lucky enough to see them all. You scored twice, scored a really good goal against Brickhouse, obviously got the
Mhm.
equaliser against Leeds as well. You've played in
Yeah.
two different positions. You've played in a 10, you've also played like on the left-hand side of a 3. I think, are you happy to play anywhere for the team, or do you have a specific position you'd prefer to play?
Well, I came into this pre-season thinking, like, obviously last season I did get a few spells on the wing, but it was mainly as the 10. And I think one of the last games I did play was left wing, and I really enjoyed it. So I came into pre-season and I was like, I'm going to be open-minded about it because I've moved to left wing and I've enjoyed it. So maybe if I move other positions, I'm going to enjoy it as well. So I was like, I'm not gonna say I only play 10 because I do enjoy other positions, and obviously I've been spending more time left wing. And as it stands right now, I probably would prefer playing there than the 10 at the minute,
Yeah.
just off the pre-season games.
With you, I think it was the game against Derby. Did you play on the left wing against Derby? And I think you got
Yeah,
our
yeah,
player of the
that was the
match.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the differences between them? Because on the field they seem quite close to each other from a fan's perspective. But what do you feel the differences are between the positions, and what do you enjoy particularly about them?
For me, initially I did say that I didn't like the wing because I had so much time to think, and like I get nervous and I don't know whether to take a player on. But after playing both, I think I would just prefer to have the ball and to cut in and then play a ball rather than being like back to goal player on us and then getting a foot in. I'd rather have that time now to cut inside. I think I prefer that now.
Obviously, seen yourself as a 10 previously,
Yeah.
and then obviously when you moved onto the wing, obviously you spoke to Chris and Steph about the moving of position. What did they say about you playing on the wing? What did they want to see from you when you went onto the wing originally?
Well, just like confidence to take a player on. Obviously, at first I wasn't. I was just either going backwards, playing backwards, trying to keep the ball. But Steph did say, like if you've got the ball and you can open up, drive at them, and don't like worry about playing the pass every time. And I have had to think about that, and I've been working on it in training as well. Like going forward a bit more, having a bit more confidence to do that.
It's interesting you said about looking for the pass, because we had a conversation after one of the games. I think it was last season, and we were talking about how, was it better for you to have a goal or better for you to have an assist? And you said at that time you preferred an assist.
Oh,
Um,
I love it, love it.
is that what you look for? Do you look for, because of the kind of player you are, you look for the assist over a goal maybe?
Don't get us wrong, I love scoring, but it doesn't really happen that much. But like that feeling when you just play a through ball and it's like it like splits the defense and then the score. Oh, I love it. I love it.
There was a particular game this season, I think, which was it Wall's End, the first game in pre-season for Bassey's goal?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
there was
nice.
two for that because you were particularly happy about that. So you're definitely more in the assist camp, I think, than goal camp, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed though with my assists this pre-season. I've been playing a few through balls, but I need to get more better towards goal, I think.
Let's just blame it on the finishing from the other girls.
No, no, I'm not doing that.
We've scored so many, we can't probably, but I touched on one of the players there with Bassey. Bassey's
Yeah,
obviously someone that everyone loves, vastly experienced, but we've got Foster as well. Last season we had Wareham and a lot of experienced players as well, but this season we've brought in like the likes of Cass. Rebecca Ollie's just came in as well. Rosie obviously is still really young, but played for about 5-6 seasons, so vastly experienced. We've got a really good blend of like youth and experience. It seems at the moment we've got like yourself and Katie. We've got Armani coming through mid debut on Sunday as well. But then you've got Foster, Bassey, Cass. There's loads of experience there. Ty as well. We totally forget about as well. She's got bags of experience too. But how good is it for you having those sort of players around you to learn from, not just as a player but as a person as well?
well, especially with Cass and Tyler, because I spend a lot of time with them, obviously traveling in the car. And they are like we do talk about the matches and the training, believe it or not. We do reflect on it, and they do give us advice, and it helps. And even at football as well, I speak to Foster quite a bit, and Bassie's really supportive in the changing room. And I think it's nice to have the older players, and it's not as if there's a divide or anything. Like, we are all mixed together. We all get on. We all speak to each other. So it's really good that you can like rely on them if you need someone to go to. Like, you wouldn't be worried because they're older. Like, you would go to them.
I feel like I've chatted a lot about that sort of friendship that's going on at the moment, and it's no disrespect to the girls out there previously, obviously great and we're here for a long time, but just this season it seems like everyone's really together, like everyone feels like part of one big family. Have you noticed sort of a difference in pre-season? Do you think that might have been affected by sort of the COVID situation, that everyone's come back and just buzzing to see each other? Or but it has been better, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's the fact that the season just ended, and there was so much uncertainty, and it was a couple of months, few months before we got back. And then when we did get back, it was kind of as if, oh, we're split into 4 groups. So then
Yeah.
it was like, we're back but not fully. So that first training session back with contact, not just running, we were all together. I think it made it all worthwhile, and I think that's why we're so buzzing to be back.
Yeah. The new signings as well have fitted in really well, not just on the team as like personalities as well, but there's one person I really want to touch on that we've just mentioned before, because like I absolutely love her. I think I've only had about 3 conversations, but I think we both can honestly say we love her a bit. She's fantastic. Emily Cassidy, of course, to other people. How much have you enjoyed sort of getting to know Cass over the past few weeks?
Oh, don't get this on record. She's gonna use this now. Nah, she's one of the loveliest people I've ever met. She's she's just so funny,
Yeah,
and she's lovely.
yeah.
She's lovely.
And there's a lot of players, like I said before, that have come in sort of over the summer, and they've got a real bonding quality about themselves. And it's only helped that
Mhm.
sort of team atmosphere, hasn't it? But I mean, you said before you feel quite confident going to players, asking for advice and things like that. Is there anyone that you go to in particular, or do you feel quite comfortable asking Bassie, Foster, Cass, whoever?
Well, if I was like in the middle of a session at training, I didn't know what I was doing, I would ask the nearest person to me, whether it be someone marking me on the other team or whatever. But if it's after training or after a match, I do generally go to Tyler. Like, I think I get on her nerves, but I do, and she is helpful.
Tyler this season as well. You know, I feel like I said this on Sunday. I think often we look at new players that have came in and players that have scored. And like I said, I think Libby's been really, really good in pre-season. She's scored about 4 or 5 goals. But then you kind of forget that Tyler's just been banging them in for the best part of like 2.5 years. But she's up the ante again in pre-season. Like, how good has she looked?
I'm sorry, but how many assists and how many goals has she got?
It's double figures already. Yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know what to say. She's too good.
Yeah, she's
Too good.
fantastic, and very humble with it as well. Bless her.
Yeah, yeah.
Talking about assists, goals, and things like that. You know, you said before you felt you played poorly on Sunday, but I think personally you've looked really sharp throughout pre-season. What are you looking for from yourself this coming season? What would be a success for you come the end of May?
Um, Success would probably, obviously, be just getting minutes, getting more experience, because I am still young. I would like to see myself getting on the score sheet more. I know it's hard to say that because you can't put pressure on yourself to score, but I think I am more brave to get in the box, to have a shot now, more confidence. So I'd like to see more of that, and obviously just to keep up the amount of assists, just have the figures, the
Yeah.
stats. Yeah.
Do you know when, obviously, there was a period last season where everything got null and voided, including goals, performances, and last season was like your debut season. That obviously
Hmm.
changed, and then that became that you could count those goals, but not the league position. That kind of 5 6 month layoff that we had, or 5 months or so of playing games, was that quite handy for you as a young player that had your first year in sort of football, that you could sit down and sort of analyse the year that you'd had and really reflect on it?
Well, yeah, it's gonna sound like don't take the mick out of us, but I did write down the scores like after most games last season and how many minutes, if I'd scored, if I'd assisted, and I'd look and see, like, sometimes the games that I'd started, I wouldn't be scoring, I wouldn't be assisting, and I'm like, okay, some games I've came on and I might have scored or I might have assisted, and it's like just noticing patterns and how sometimes, like a year ago, I'd start and be really nervous, not have as much of an influence, but as the season went on, it was like changing, and I would be starting and then assisting.
Yeah. It's kind of growing within
Yeah,
yourself, like individually, because it's like
yeah,
COVID's been obviously a horrible situation for everyone, but I suppose it did have that reset button for a lot of people. But I imagine from a perspective of yourself, it gave you an opportunity to look back at your own performances and really analyze it. Because what do you get in pre-season normally? 6 weeks. Now you're getting sort of however many weeks it was. We were 20 odd weeks or something like that. Moving into your second season as it is, it's your second season under Steph and Chris as well. Someone that everyone loves. I don't love Chris, not at least on a recorded podcast, but I do really Chris. But how have you found sort of working under both of them, since you've been with Middlesbrough, and how have they helped your game?
Apart from the fact their coaching's really good and it's really helped me, they're both such lovely people. Like, you feel like we all feel so comfortable to just speak to them about anything, and we have done. I have quite a few times. I've spoke to Steph, I've spoke to Chris about things that might be worrying us or any questions that I have, and I just feel like the atmosphere, like, between all the girls is the same with Steph and Chris. Like, it's like we're all together with them, and yeah, they're really good coaches as well.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Do you think that helps? Said before that everyone feels quite comfortable going to Steph and Chris. Do you think that's what's helped, like, harbour that kind of harmonious atmosphere of everyone being friendly and getting on like a family? Do you think they've like harboured that? They've been the ones that have helped to kind of create that.
Yeah, and I think saying when we don't perform as well in the games, like on Sunday, Steph and Chris being like understanding people that they are, it helps us to. So, for example, on training on Tuesday, like, for us to stop the session to point out where we could have been marking players, and it's like things like that where we can just point them out to Steph and Chris, and then they can reevaluate with everyone else. And it's just stuff like that, like, we just feel comfortable to do that.
Yeah. And I've got to say, even from a media perspective, I keep out the way the football side of it because I'm rubbish at football. But yeah, Steph and Chris are exactly the same. I can always go to them if I want to do something like, for example, a podcast at 9:30 at night or 10 o'clock as it is. On to more sort of general questions, people, I think, always like to get to know like our players a little bit more as people. So I think we've discussed this a little bit, but what are your sort of earliest memories of playing football growing up, and how did you get into football?
I think I was in year 2. How old was that? 7.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I don't even remember, but I just got a letter in
Uh-huh.
primary because we had such a small class, and it was like, you need to play for our year two team because we haven't got enough players. And I was like, what even is football? So I went anyways. And then, like, I was actually quite good. And then me friend's dad was watching, and then he was like, oh, do you want to come and sign for our boys team? And I was like, go on then. Because I was just, like, little, so you just want to join in. And then, I don't know, I can't really remember much, but I did start off at a boys team and worked my way up.
A lot of players have played in boys' teams. I spoke to Katie, she played in a boys' team, but I've also, on the flip side, spoke to Beth Mead on a totally separate podcast away from Middlesbrough. And coming through a boys' team seems to be a thing that tends to happen, and that may change because I think the landscape's changing massively with women's football, and thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people say playing with boys' teams really helps you kind of come on a little bit further. Like, what did you enjoy most about playing in a boys' team and alongside boys?
Like, I don't want to say that I'm I'm one of the physical players because
Uh-huh.
I'm not, but I think it did help with my physical, like like your composure, your balance. Do you know what I mean? I think that definitely helped with that. And like your bravery and that, going up for headers, stuff like that, definitely helped with that.
Absolutely. No, I completely understand where you're coming from. I think we spoke before about players that you look up to, and I think Neymar has been one that you do look up to. There is a hilarious video which will never see the light of day, but nonetheless, But which footballers did you look up to in the women's game?
So when I was younger, I didn't really, because women's football wasn't as popular when I was
Yeah,
younger.
yeah,
So it's
absolutely.
more so been in the last few years, and I've really like, I don't want to sound embarrassing, but I proper do fangirl over the England team. Like, I just love them all.
To be fair, they're a good bunch to connect to though, and I suppose you said before, women's football wasn't that big when you were little, and I think that's the thing. The exposure's so different these days. You could watch all the WSL games on Saturday, for example, or Sunday.
Hmm.
So does it give you more of an opportunity to have idols now as like a 17-year-old as opposed to maybe when you were 10 because you can see them so freely?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I always, so when the England women are playing, I can compare myself to who's playing on the wing, who's playing in the middle, and I'm like, what do I need to do to obviously get to that point? That's what you've got to aim for. But yeah, it's better now, because if I was say 17, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had that chance to watch the games or
Yeah.
look at the way they play. So yeah.
Even in the short time that you've been within the game, have you felt a difference with women's football in terms of like media coverage and accessibility towards actually watching the games?
Like our games, or
All
like
in
just
general,
overall.
yeah, overall.
Yeah, I remember it was a few years ago. I was just flicking through the channels and I seen the under 20s World Cup for England
Yeah,
for the women, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, you wouldn't expect that, would you?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's getting a lot
So,
more exposure and stuff like that, and thankfully gives me a job. Thank God for that. But yeah, when it comes to sort of players that you looked up to as well, then with the England squad itself, there's so many world class players you have there now. Is there anyone in particular that you look to in the England squad, or do you just kind of look at the whole squad as a full thing? Is there any positions you look at in particular, try and learn stuff from? Because it's a talented squad, isn't it?
it is a talented squad, but for some reason, when I watch the games, I'm obsessed with the defenders, like Millie Bright,
Yeah.
Steph Houghton, like Lucy Bronze. They're just so good. I watch them more than the attackers, and I don't know why. I really don't.
Do you know when you're looking at the team there as well, though, you've got like two players there that came through from the northeast, obviously both his son and Lucy, and obviously Steph, but then you've got Jordan who came through at Middlesbrough, Beth who came
Hmm.
through at Teesside RTC. Being from the northeast, I think sometimes people look at it and think that every player wants to go at the bright lights of London and stuff like that. But when you're from the northeast, and it happens in men's football and women's football, there's so many players that get promoted from the region because it's got such a good hub. Do you feel quite privileged to be coming from the area that you're from because of how much it promotes women's football and football in general?
Yeah, I've always said that. Like, even from when I used to play for Sunderland at a younger age, we used to come up against Man City, and they would all have the facilities, the badge, obviously, and our coaches would always say, it's just a badge, like it's just 11v11, and we would get good results, and it's like, you don't have to be from these areas. So we coming from the northeast, it's kind of like, you've got a pride coming from here, because
Yeah.
everyone expects the Arsenals, the Man Cities to come out on top, but really we're just as good, if not sometimes better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you look through the Lionesses team, there's what, 7 or 8 players that came to the northeast, various different clubs there,
Yeah.
be it Middlesbrough, be it Sunderland. Um, when it comes to Middlesbrough, obviously last season you actually got into the under-19s team for England, which we're all immensely proud of you for doing. But how was that for you? Because that kind of came out of the blue for us. So was it out of the blue for you as well?
Yeah, definitely. I remember I got an email for my heart test, and like the ultrasound and everything, and it was so last minute. Like, I think I got the email 2 days before it was scheduled for. So I got that done. And then I think it was a couple of days after that, Mo Marley rang me mum and was like, "Oh, we want Jasmine to come to camp today," and I was obviously in college, and I was like, "Eh, what?"
Like when you go to camp and stuff like that, though, like you put the shirt on, you put like an England shirt on, you then like an England under 19s player, you play the games, you coach. What are the standards like for, even though it's under 19s, what are the standards like when you go to like St George's Park for? Does it surprise you, or is it just full of adrenaline?
It's definitely full of adrenaline, but I wasn't fully surprised because I kind of expected that because I have spent a lot of time like watching training videos, but when I was involved with it myself, it was almost like a shock to the system, and it's definitely not what I'm used to at all.
And you got a shirt and everything as well with like your name on the back and stuff like that as well. So is that like set up for you when you walk in? Do you just get to see it almost like a surprise of just hanging there, or?
Well, what number was that? I was 24, wasn't
Yeah.
I? Yeah, they like told us our numbers before the games, and then we went down to the football area where the change rooms are, and they just hung up all around. It's
It's mad,
mad.
isn't it? Yeah. Does
Yeah,
it give
it
you,
is.
does that give you a drive then? Does that like up the ante even more to be like, right, I've done this once, I want to do this twice, 3 times, 10 times, 100 times?
Well, that's exactly what I said. So obviously, when I was on my way home, I was talking to my parents, and I was like, "Well, yeah, it was really hard. Like, I'm not used to it.
Hmm.
Um, like I was one of the new ones, but having been there and seen what it's like now, like how like what's the word? Oh, I can't think of the word.
Enjoyable? Or the levels that you can
How
get to?
professional it is.
Yeah.
It's something you've got to want to do again. Like I was like, I've got to do this again. I need to work on this. I was telling them what I needed to work on the way home. I was like, oh my God.
Correct me if I'm wrong though, but technically you could play for Scotland as well because of your dad, couldn't you?
Yeah, they were interested when I was younger, but I can't remember what happened. I think I kind of want. I don't want to sound like, but I did just want to go for England. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, that makes sense. You know, you're born in England. It makes complete sense. Um, Last but not least, final question. I didn't want to bring this up too early, but I've got to. Everyone wants to know the story behind the braids. Where did they come from? What got you connected to them? When did they begin? They
This
are
is
your
this is this is
stable.
this is a risky. Um, so I was on holiday um last July, and I was just lying around the pool, and I was with my sister, and she's 13, so she we get on sometimes, and she was just like, I was just lying down with my eyes closed, and she was like, Jasmine, Jasmine. I was like, what, man? She was like, look at her hair, and she had like yellow and blue braids, and I was like, oh. And at this point, I thought it was like, when you get the braids when you're younger,
Yeah,
and it comes out after a week. I was
yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna get some blue braids. Anyways, looking on like when we went into the town, I was looking for the people who braid the hairs, and found someone, and I was like, can you do it like long? Because like my hair's not that long naturally. And they're like, yeah, yeah. What colour? And I was like, I can't get blue because I will get bullied when I get home. And this was just, I don't even know what crossed my mind. But anyways, I was like, just do blonde because it'll look summery. Anyways, put them in. It was really tight, like on my sunburn and everything. And afterwards, I was like, how long do I keep them in for? And they were like 2 months. And I was like, oh my God, I'm at football next week. I'm gonna get bullied. And then I was getting messages saying, what have you done? And then everyone was just kind of saying, why have you done it? And I regretted it. I wanted to take it out. And then I got home, and it was kind of like, I don't know what happened, but I was like searching on my phone for places that do it, like in the northeast. I was like finding where I could go once these had run out, and then I just kept getting them.
And you did miss them when they went away. You felt like a different person. You could tell.
I do. I don't know what it is. I have been looking at pictures without my braids in lately, and I have actually thought I might give it a break after these. I don't know.
That's a
I don't
good.
know.
That is a controversial thing to end on. We did get one Twitter question I meant to post well before we were recording. I don't even know where this question came from, but we'll try it anyway. So, final question, fan question is from Tat, because Tat loves questions and is great with questions. If you had to use a vegetable to defend yourself, which would you choose and why?
Um, Give us a minute for this one. Potato, probably. A jacket potato, though.
Why potato?
Right, they're heavy, aren't they? I bet every normal person would be like, carrot,
Broccoli.
no. Broccoli, no.
Broccoli's got a bit of, you can get a bit of
It'll
stuff on
crumble.
it.
It'll
It would
crumble.
crumble. It would crumble. That is true. So we're going with jacket potato.
Aye.
Good. Jazz, thanks very much, mate. Always good fun.
No bother.